Morning, McKinney Ground, RV247 Delta Echo, down below you to the right, and ready for taxi. Like to go out over the lake.
RV247 Delta Echo, McKinney Ground, runway 36, taxi via Bravo 3 and Bravo. The wind is 330 at 10, altimeter 3014.
Bravo 3 to Bravo 2367 Delta Echo. So how many of you that have had your private pilot license for a while now have not really gotten around to go try the old primary maneuvers of S-turns across the road, turns about a point, slow flight, steep turns? Well, I haven't really gotten around to do all that in quite a while, and I thought it would be fun to take CloudAhoy out and evaluate how well I do on each of these maneuvers. And being I'm giving CloudAhoy away at the end of the month, I thought it would be a great time to show a demo of the other features of CloudAhoy that I really enjoy. You know, and I think anybody working in that student pilot rate will love the fact that even when you don't have an instructor along and you're out working on your maneuvers on your own, you still have something to come back to and evaluate how well did I do, rather than I think I did a steep turn or I think I did my turns about a point correct, but you never really know. And with CloudAhoy analysis, there'll be no doubt. You'll know exactly how you did it. At McKinney Tower, RV247 Delta Echo, ready to go at 36.
Experimental at the hold short line to miss the call sign, runway 36, clear for takeoff.
RV247 Delta Echo, clear for takeoff.
RV247 Delta Echo, roger, thank you sir, and what's your direction of departure?
I'd like to go out over the lake.
RV7 Delta Echo, roger, right turn out approved.
Right turn out after takeoff, 7 Delta Echo.
Kansas 710 uniform contact regional approach on 124.3, have a good day.
Hi, going to 24.3 and thanks again. We know you guys are busy,
Welcome.
Traffic, 4 o'clock, 2 miles, 500 feet above.
So before I jump right into flying the primary maneuvers, I want to give you an overview of what I'm trying to do with CloudAhoy. As you can see here, CloudAhoy is showing a plan view of the overall flight route that I took. But beyond that, CloudAhoy automatically categorized each portion of that flight into the different maneuvers that I had performed. You can see those all shown on the left, each one color-coded on the plan view. And for any portion of the flight, you can bring up graphs that detail the exact numerical values of things like airspeed, altitude, bank, and pitch. And using these values, you can then determine how accurately you flew each of the maneuvers that you were trying to practice. So with that, let's get out there, do a little flying, and find out how well I can do. And so I am going to begin with a steep turn to the left. I'm at 2,500 feet MSL. The goal will be to end up at 2,500 feet MSL when I'm done. So here we go, pulling into a bank. Beginning to drift a little low, pull back on the stick a little bit. While I have sped up the video quite a bit, the important points are watch the graphs. The graph in the lower right is showing my bank angle, which is about 40 degrees. In the upper right, it's showing my altitude, and it's apparent I'm not doing a very good job holding a constant altitude. And back around and level off the direction I began. That looked like I drifted off maybe about 50 feet. A little high, but I think that was pretty reasonable. We'll look at how CloudAhoy compares to my visual check of being off by 50 feet at one point during the turn. And now to try one to the right. Bring it into a bank. By watching the graphs again, it's clear to me that I'm not holding enough of a bank angle again to be a true steep turn. And in watching the altitude graph, I'm learning something that I never realized before. Apparently, I do have a tendency to pull back too hard on the stick during my turns, and I cause the aircraft to climb and roll back out on the original heading. Now that time it felt more difficult. I don't know why. Evidently I'm more left-handed than right-handed, but I felt a little more trouble trying to turn to the right than I did to the left. All right, so now I'm going to try a turnabout a point. The goal being keeping the altitude constant and keeping the radius away from the point that I'm turning about to be constant as well. So I'm decreasing my altitude, come down closer to the ground to have a better perspective on the point that I'm going to be turning around.
So to begin with, I'm watching the bank graph, and it does show I am doing it correctly in that on the downwind side of the turn, I'm holding a greater bank angle to compensate for the wind. And then when I reach the upwind portion of the circle, I decrease the bank angle to make sure that the wind doesn't blow me back toward the point that I'm turning about. As for the altitude, well, it shows I've dropped 100 feet initially, and then ended up climbing back to 100 feet above my initial altitude. Definitely need work there.
Well, I'm all the way around, and I think that had a little bit to be desired. I'm not going to say that I did a really good job on it, but then again, if I did, it wouldn't show that CloudAhoy was giving me any briefing, would it? So now I'm down at the southern end of Lake Levon, and I'm going to do S-turns across that line. So the thing to keep in mind is I have to fly it tighter on the southern end and wider on the northern. And we'll try to keep the altitude right throughout that as well. And if any of them are going to look like a total botch on CloudAhoy, we're on it. I haven't tried one of these in a long, long time. So we're flying parallel to the road right now. I'm not sure if on CloudAhoy it will show that road or not, but I am now turning to go across the road. All right, we've cleared the road. Turning it in, I'll turn a little bit tighter. Again, to make sure the wind is not blowing me farther to the south. A shallow turn again, being we're on the north end. I think I've kept my altitude pretty much constant, but time will tell. Right, I'm on the north end. I'm going to make a more shallow turn.
3700, they'll pass behind you.
Again, a tighter turn because we're on the southern end. All right, we made it across the road. I think we had like 3 legs on that, back and forth. And I know I didn't do a great job. I hope I didn't do too poor of a job. But CloudAhoy will tell me in the end, and it'll show me what I need to work on and where I went wrong. And maybe I didn't guesstimate the shallowness of the turn on the left to keep from blowing back into the road. Maybe I did. I have even a hard time telling, and I've been flying for a while. So again, you know, if you're a student pilot, you up on your own trying to practice will be very difficult to evaluate in your own mind. How did you do? And most people will be like, oh, I did great. But but when you look at the data afterward and it's plotting it on the map, you'll know exactly how you did. And there's no denying what you did wrong. And if you did it right, it's just confirmation. Again, McKinney Tower, RV 247 Delta Echo, over the lake inbound, full stop with the numbers.
RV 247 Delta Echo, McKinney Tower, you can see direct for runway 36.
Direct for 36, RV 247 Delta Echo. And so I hope you came away from that with an appreciation for how, in the new world of electronics and data capture with GPSs, you can use that tool to improve your flying, as opposed to going out and trying to evaluate all of that, especially at the student pilot level. Heck, I couldn't hardly tell whether I was doing them right or wrong. I'll have to wait to look at the CloudAhoy data later too. But if even I had trouble, you can imagine a student pilot having trouble. And so a tool like this is just invaluable in giving you concrete feedback and letting you know how you're flying and how you're improving and whether you need to improve. Heck, a lot of us haven't went out and tried those maneuvers since the day we got our private pilot license. And I hope that a few of you might be inspired to go out and try to perfect your flying and question, how well do I really do? You know, I've flown for 800 hours, but am I really doing a good job? Do I really have complete command of my airplane? You know, and I want to point out, I'm a private pilot. I'm instrument rated, but I am not an instructor. So don't take any of what I've done as instructional video. Don't try to replicate what I did. I might have done it wrong. Go talk to your CFI. Show your CFI what I tried to do with CloudAhoy and inspire them. Maybe they will go out and get a copy and help their students evaluate how well they're doing at climb. Oh, that could have been a lot smoother.
Traffic not available.
Runway 36, the wind is 350 at 1.
But when you're on camera, you never do it perfect.
Terminal 7 Delta Echo, right on Bravo, left on Bravo 3 to the hangar.
Bravo 3 to the hangar with you, 7 Delta Echo.